speaker is probably known to most Freemasons in Queensland, if not Australia, if not this part of the world. Travelled very many miles and also many, many kilometres talking about Freemasonry, speaking about what's involved in building Freemasonry. With a great deal of pleasure, I introduce the Chairman of the Membership and Marketing Committee, Right Worshipful Brother Greg Godding.
Ladies, gentlemen and brethren, just a couple of things that I'd like to touch on this evening very briefly, and that's about our organisation and the membership part of it and what we're trying to do to make sure that we do grow as an organisation. And I'll start off by saying that Charles Darwin once wrote that nothing at all survives because of strength or intelligence. It survives because of its ability to adapt to change. And as an organisation, that's what Freemasonry has had to do. And especially in the last 4 or 5 years, we've realised that we are dealing with a different style of person and family. We're dealing with a different world. And certainly, as our Grand Master alluded to, you will be aware that 45% of you who came here this evening came because of the website, because of your interest through of Freemasonry that was found on the website, which means that 55% still come from word of mouth. But as an organisation, we actually grew, and we're one of the few institutions that actually grew in the last year, and we will continue to grow. The website has been probably the most exciting thing that's happened to Freemasonry in the last 20 years, and the Deputy Grand Secretary who just spoke, many of you would know him through your first contact with this Grand Lodge, which was through Graham Schultz. We've had to, in the last few years, realise that what we had done for 20, 30, 40 or 50 years may not work in this modern world, and that's why we are now embracing modern techniques to make sure that we continue to grow as an organisation. We give very simple booklets out now called A Basic Look at Freemasonry, and I've got them here for you again this evening. And a lot of you who have joined, and your wives and partners would have already read them, but for those who may be here as guests and know very little about Freemasonry, take one. If you're a new member and you're still not quite sure about what it is, take one. If you're a lady and you want to know a bit more, take one, because it is very open and honest, and it'll tell you exactly what Freemasonry is about and what we expect. I will finish up by saying this, especially to the ladies. Ladies, don't ever fear what Freemasonry is about. It's the most wonderful organisation that your husbands, your partners, your menfolk can get involved in. It's nothing to be frightened of. In fact, it's something to embrace. We will never, ever send your husbands, partners, boyfriends home from lodge full of grog or bad manners. We'll never do that. We will try and put them in the company of other good men. And that's what we try and do, is we try and put good men in the company of other good men. It is a wonderful sanctuary that men escape to for about 4 hours once a month, and that's all it should be. And when your husband comes home and tells you, the lodge says, I've got to be here, or I've got to be there, or I've got to be everything else, take it from me, you don't got to be anywhere. You've got to be at lodge 4 hours once a month. That's what you've got to be. And that's a commitment that we ask of all Freemasons to give to Freemasonry. And ladies, I don't think it's a big ask, but it's an important ask. You cannot learn what Freemasonry is from the internet or reading a book. You cannot learn what Freemasonry is unless you actually go to a lodge. And ladies, that's not so we can indoctrinate them or brainwash them or put them under bright lights like this and get them to say silly things. It's so that they get in the company of other Freemasons. And people that our Grand Master just alluded to, there'll be men sitting in those lodge rooms that have been there 60, 50, 60 years, 65 years. We've had a member of this Grand Lodge who was 81 years as a Freemason. And that's a wonderful thing that someone would stay interested for that long. So, ladies, it's a commitment of 4 hours once a month, and that's all it is. There will be plenty of time in their life as a Freemason that there will be opportunities for them to get more involved in the lodges, and that will be if they decide to take office or do a charge. But that'll be something that you and your husband will decide upon when it works for your family. And some people might take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years. It doesn't matter. We don't care how long it takes, as long as you realise that we want your husband to come along. He's going to come home, hopefully, having a very wonderful night. As I said, it's a wonderful sanctuary that men should be able to escape to. And hopefully, come the next month, he's looking forward to going back to his lodge meeting, and that's all we can ask. If that happens, then we have no doubts that our Freemasons, the men that are here today, will ask and encourage their mates to think about joining Freemasonry, and that's how we will continue to grow the organisation. I hope you have a wonderful night. We will all be around tonight to to answer any questions. I'm sure as we get up from here and go down to the supper room below, our wonderful grand organist up there that is Right Worshipful Brother Andrew Melville, and I hope he's still up there, he is. Andrew Melville might push those ivories up there just for another couple of tunes just as we're sort of wandering down, but I'll hand you back to the Grand Director. Once again, thank you for your attendance, and I hope that we meet many times in the future. Thank you.